Frank, thank you so much for joining us. It's so great to have you back on the show.
Yeah, I'm glad to be back. Thank you.
So as we've discussed, companies are going through a major digital transformation. That digital transformation has been accelerated through the pandemic. But now that we're coming out of the pandemic, what trends are you seeing? Is that transformation still speeding up, or is it starting to slow down?
Well, certainly through our experience, it's speeding up, and what is doing it is really the enablement of technology. I mean, we like to say that these days technology is not holding enterprises and institutions back anymore. It's their imagination and their budgets, which are not insignificant things, by the way, but that's different than what it's always been for decades, that the technology could only take you so far. And after that, it was like, well, we do what we can. And that was very much true in data management, data analytics. There was just an incredible limitation on capacity. That has gone away because we now have consumption models, completely variable consumption as a function of the public cloud model. So people are they're running hard because the opportunity is there and it's unfolding right in front of them.
Now, as I understand it, you want Snowflake to be a platform. Explain what that means and how you get there.
Well, the difference between a tool and a platform is that, a tool is normally seen as a one-trick pony. It does one thing, and that's what you use it for, like a screwdriver, but a platform is multi-purpose and very broadly capable. So that's where platform designations come in. Now we do a wide range of things on Snowflake, even though we're known for certain particular things, but it is a very broadly capable platform, and is becoming more so going forward.
Now, you recently reported quarterly results, raised your guidance, but losses widened. Talk to us about the outlook for growth in the U.S. versus abroad.
Well, we obviously gave guidance, and I think that was well received. But we're a high growth, very high growth company at our scale, but also with a valuation to match. So there's obviously pressure, on the management team to live up to that, and that's all fine. But we're under the influence of secular mega trends, things that are fundamentally changing the face of computing. We're helping that enable that, but we're also swept up in it, at the same time. So it's very rare to see the kind of growth that a company like Snowflake is experiencing. I mean, we see many times at customers that, they go from spending 1 year to the next year that the budgets grow 20x. And that's just crazy. You never ever saw that, in software. Now it's becoming routine. Oftentimes we're being told we're the second largest line item behind the public cloud spend itself. Yeah, so the perception of this class of software and the consumption that goes with it is changing. People are adapting and getting used to the fact, like, wow, this is a much bigger bucket than what it used to be.
Well, speaking of cloud, you compete and partner with Amazon, Google, Microsoft. They're also trying to do what you do. How do those friendly rivalries, if you will, shake out over time?
Yeah, it makes for an interesting day because you never know which version of those three you're going to encounter. A partner, a competitor, or a customer, because we are very large consumers, of their service, obviously. So our relationships with Amazon and Microsoft have been very productive. Amazon has always been very productive and becoming more so. It's 85% of our platform deployments. Microsoft, our fastest growing platform, and we're very bullish on those platforms, generally speaking. But they have gone through changes, over the last couple of years. Everybody's getting used to these new models and these strange, seemingly contradictory dynamics that are showing up. But you know what? We just deal with it on a day-to-day basis. We have very tight communications. We have escalation protocols. We have QBR. So in other words, we have the ability to work through the friction in these relationships if and when it emerges. Yeah.
Now, let's talk about then Amazon specifically, AWS Redshift. Are you still winning customers from them? If so, what customers?
Yeah, we have, obviously, typically when we get on into an Amazon cloud, Redshift is already there and it's already understood. And obviously, a company like ours wouldn't even exist if that wasn't the case. So we have replaced it, obviously, a lot of times. But Amazon has many more ways to play the game other than Redshift. So in other words, they're not lost for opportunities just because Redshift might be not the play to run here. So that's why that relationship really is not as challenged, if you will, because there's just many other ways that Amazon can come at the opportunity, and they do, and we partner, and we all win because we drive consumption on the Amazon cloud.
What about Microsoft and Google? How much competition are you seeing from them?
Well, Microsoft has also evolved in a very positive manner. I think, under the leadership of Satya Nadella, I think they have a very high-minded view of what Azure really is. And it's really a platform for innovation. There should be lots of choice, and Microsoft is going to win no matter what, whether it's Snowflake on Azure or something else. Doesn't mean we don't compete, but I think competition, generally speaking, is not a bad thing. It makes us better, it makes them better. The customer gets choice, customer gets better product. Does it yield friction from time to time? Sure, and we're all adults here, and we're just dealing with it one account at a time. But Google has been more challenging. Google is also younger, newer, to the game. And I think they're still going through a process of getting used to these dynamics. There's a lot of pressure on them to sort of make their way in this game.
Speaking of adults, do you have any thoughts on Andy Jassy as CEO of Amazon, given that you are a partner as well as a competitor?
Well, I personally have the highest regard for Andy. I'm mesmerized by what he has accomplished at Amazon Web Services. So I can see why he got picked for that role. And we're also actually happy with Adam Selipsky becoming the CEO of AWS. Obviously, we know Adam from Tableau, and we know him from Salesforce. So these are all relationships that are going back many years.
Snowflake now also has its own VC arm. You just had a company today raise new funding, Elation. Talk to us about the goal with your investments on the VC side. What are the ambitions there?
Yeah, so Snowflake Ventures is not strictly a venture fund where we're trying to put some money to work and make some money. We have strategic goals. We're trying to enhance ventures that add value to the Snowflake data cloud, either because they're capabilities that we don't have and we have not had, or because we want to partner much more intently with these parties. So as part of these investments, we typically have very broad-ranging engineering and go-to-market relationships that we built around the investment. So there's more to it than putting money in play.
Now, you also are holding a Snowflake Summit next week. I know you're investing in machine learning and AI. Is that going to be the competitive differentiator between Snowflake and the other options?
Well, I mean, think of machine learning and data science. I mean, these are all sort of general monikers for similar things. I sometimes refer to them as next generation analytics. But these are the applications that run on Snowflake. So yes, absolutely. I mean, in order to drive the Snowflake platform, those are the workloads that we run. So we are in that business in a huge way. Yes, we run reports. Yes, we populate dashboards. But machine learning and data science obviously is a huge part of the present, but an even much bigger part of our future. So we're enabling Snowflake to get better and better and better at running these workloads, because that's obviously in our strategic interest to do that.
Speaking of strategy, you recently moved your headquarters, quote unquote, to Bozeman, Montana. You're joining us from Bozeman, Montana. It looks pretty nice out there. What does Bozeman have on the Bay Area, and what's the strategy here?
The strategy was really for Snowflake to go headquarterless, really without a headquarter. We thought the whole notion of a headquarter was outdated. I mean, companies today don't operate with a central single physical place, the mothership, if you will, for the company, because we're a globally distributed company, not just in terms of where our employees are, where our customers are, but also where our executives are. And our headquarters is where we connect, for whatever period of time. I sometimes say headquarters is between my ears, and it travels with me. It's hell trying to get away from it, by the way. But that's just the reality, right? And it became extremely apparent to us during the pandemic, because we never set foot in our so-called headquarters anymore for well over 14, 15 months. So our headquarters was, the same way you and I are talking right now, through a network connection. And it allowed us a lot more flexibility. I personally, need to be all over the place. I am where the action is. I'm not sitting in an office in a headquarters location somewhere, sort of observing and contemplating the world. That's not what it is. We gravitate to where we need to be, and it's Europe, and it's the East Coast, and it's Asia Pacific, all these places that are, they're unfolding very, very quickly. And, we go where we need to be. So that's really why we made that, announcement. We also have become much more purposeful in terms of our hiring strategy, right? We're no longer hiring sort of by happenstance, like sort of, we take them where we find them, type of a strategy. We now have priority hiring zones for certain types of positions within engineering, but also in general administrative roles. We have a big location in Pune, India, for a lot of our back office operations. And we need to do that, A, for talent availability, B, for talent quality, and C, for economics. And the Bay Area is a heck of a hard place because you're up against Google and Facebook for every single engineering hire. We get a little tired of that,
Does that mean you're okay with remote work? I mean, how does this trickle down? Can Snowflake employees work anywhere they want, or no?
So no is the answer. Every single Snowflake employee is what we call tethered to an office. It doesn't mean you're physically tethered to it, but you belong. You're affiliated and associated with an office. And managers can call people into offices for meetings. I think the big change from the previous sort of office paradigm is we don't really want the office to be your daytime home, okay? Sort of the place where you mindlessly go, whether you have a reason to go there or not, and you have to dread a commute, which is probably the single biggest productivity killer of all time. So so you are associated with an office, you're associated with a team. So we don't have any sort of lone wolves out there that are living in the middle of nowhere and have no association with an office. So we still have that. But you come to the office at specific times for specific reasons. And if you don't have a specific reason, then you can be working. You can be working at the office if you want to. And there's, by the way, plenty of people that want to go back to the office. And for other people, it's like, well, I'll work from home that day or that part of the week or whatever.
Interesting. You mentioned earlier that Snowflake executives are feeling the pressure because obviously, the company debuted at a massive market cap, and now you have to keep up. How does that pressure play out on, on a more distributed workforce?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of communications going on constantly. So, I make sure people feel the pressure that I feel. I make sure I pass that on to everybody else. Because I want you to feel the hell between my ears, so that we're all aligned. I'm just saying that jokingly. Obviously, pressure comes with the territory. That's just the way the world is. In my previous company, we were always the underdog. Now we're the overdog. Okay, so we get to live that life too.
That's quite a strategy, Frank. I read in the past some of your comments about diversity, where you said something along the lines of, it's not that you don't care about diversity, but you're hiring for the job. And I'm curious if you're ever concerned that you, with that strategy, then miss having certain voices in the room, and how that has played out over time.
Yeah, we're actually highly sympathetic to diversity, but we just don't want that to override merit, because I start doing that, I start compromising the company's mission, literally. And obviously that's not what our employees want from me, because they're there for a reason as well. We do a lot of really constructive things around diversity, meaning creating real opportunity for real people, changing their trajectories in life and in their careers. And we love doing that, right? I'm not the person who's going to make a lot of public pronouncements and, have indictments about what's wrong with the world, but we are going to do very specific things that help real people, connect to opportunity. And we can, for example, we work with universities to help them shape their curriculum so that the people that graduate can actually be employed either by us or by our customers, right? Because universities often don't know, how to shape curriculums so that people connect well with the opportunity, but we can help them do that. Right? So these are very constructive, real things, that have effect, and that's what I like to do. That's sort of, how I come at this whole set of issues.
Yeah. You're not worried from the pushback of liberal Silicon Valley?
Well, I mean, I will tell you from my own experience talking to many CEOs, all the names that privately, we are of the same mind. It's just publicly, they find it difficult to be that way. Now, there have been some voices, recently where people are speaking more precisely to what other people are thinking and believing. So I think we need to come to a more moderated, real place, rather than, there's really no room for the hysteria and the outrage. We're CEOs, okay? We run companies. We have to produce results for our employees and our partners and our investors and our customers, right? So you can't get distracted in that mission. When you do, you might as well hang it up and let somebody else do it.
Interesting. So take me 10 years out. What does Snowflake look like long term?
We have an incredibly bold vision, for Snowflake that is, way beyond what you can see today. We're going to talk about this at length at our conference next week. We expect to have more than between 50 and 60,000 people signed up. It's a huge conference, and we're going to get into a lot more detail because Snowflake is not just a modernization play of taking legacy workloads to the cloud. It's really about transformation, about becoming really data-driven, about driving digital transformation, about building marketplaces, brand new marketplaces in data, marketplaces in software. We think we can set up a whole renaissance in software development that we've never seen before. So this is the reason why I'm here. It's just incredibly exciting and stimulating to be part of this and to be working on this. Yeah.